It's been a long time, hasn't it? For the longest time on this channel, Monday was always home to my Raw recaps. I would do them right after Raw was over, and I'd put them up for the Tuesday video. So technically, I've been doing Tuesday videos all along. There were sometimes I would do Monday videos, but most of the time, they would be up after midnight, which means they're Tuesday videos. So technically, this is no different than normal. But technically it is, because this is Monday's video, and we're going to talk about TNA Impact and NXT. And the reason why is because I had a change in the schedule this week. Ashley wasn't able to give us his video on Saturday, so he will be joining us tomorrow. And then the vlog of randomness, I already have a topic for it. I'm going to discuss my top 10 Florida roller coasters. I'm going to do that on Wednesday. Thursday, brand new sip and snack. I'm going to focus on a brand new Girl Scout cookie, which is a toffee, and it's also gluten-free. And I'm also going to focus on Parmesan garlic Triscuits, and who knows what else may be on that video. Stay tuned. So that also means that Ashley's going to be joining us again on Saturday, so you're getting double Ashley this week. And of course, AJ's movie reviews on Friday of the new release movies of this week. So that will be taken care of on Friday. And now we're going to talk about NXT. So let's talk NXT, shall we? This show basically started off with Big Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore coming out, and they are showing why they are the top tag team in NXT. They may not have the tag team championships, but they want to prove why they have the right to be called the top tag team in NXT. And of course, if it was done by popular vote in the Full Sail crowd, I would say beyond a shadow of a doubt, Enzo and Cass would be easily the most popular team in NXT. If popularity gave you championships, then there are certain people that would never see a title in their career. That's another topic for another day. So they come out, of course, they do their spiel at the beginning, and the crowd sings along with Enzo like they always do. No Carmella at ringside this time because apparently Enzo and Cass are going to need to be focused, and with her at ringside they can't focus. Obviously Enzo is discombobulated when she's around. I know how that feels. Obviously all of us know how it feels to be kind of thrown off when someone's there that you may or may not like, and then it's kind of like, well, yeah, then I'm losing the match. So, it's happened before. It's happened to all of us. So I can understand that Carmella not being at ringside is actually a good thing for Cass and Enzo, because they can actually focus on their number one contender match against Kalisto and Sin Cara, the Lucha Dragons, in the opening of the show. So, Enzo calls them the Geico Lizards, instead of the Lucha Dragons, obviously. They're basically on the road to the NXT Tag Team Championships, and they're going to stop anyone in their path. And anyone that is on their path, Big Cass, of course, says they are SAWFT. Soft! So that gets our first match into the ring. It is the Lucha Dragons versus Big Cass and Enzo Amore. And the winner of this match will get a tag team title opportunity against the current NXT Tag Team Champions, Blake and Murphy, somewhere down the line. I'm going to guess this match will happen at the next TakeOver show. That's my guess. I believe that's probably the right place to do it, and that's the way I would do it if it was me booking. So we pick it up midway through the match, Enzo with a chin lock on Sin Cara. He elbows out and backdrop float over. Enzo lands on his feet and he grabs the foot. And Enzo is caught with an enziguri kick, tags Kalisto in the ring, hits the springboard flying body press. He hits the roll-up kick, comes off the ropes, and the grounded snap Hurricane Rana off the ropes, gets a 2 count off of that. Locks in an armbar, tags in Sin Cara. He comes in with a chop, boots in the corner, and a slight foot choke. And a slight because it lasted like less than a second. So it proves that Sin Cara was working on his feet and noticing that Enzo and Cass were definitely going to be the ones that the fans responded to the best. So they were working a little bit more heelish than normal. Even though it only lasted a split second, it was still there. So a snapmare into a chin lock. Enzo elbows out. He gets caught with a knee, which cuts him off. The springboard 180 headbutt, and he goes for a drop kick, and it sends Enzo to the floor. So Cass helps Enzo up. Cass shoves Enzo out of the way, and he eats the tandem tope from the Lucha Dragons. So they toss him in, tagging Kalisto. He's now legal, and the roll up to the schoolboy powerbomb. Kalisto heads up top, and Big Cass, big boot to Sin Cara, knocking him into the buckle, which thus crotches Kalisto up top, so he's down. Cass drags Enzo to the corner. He makes the tag himself. He comes in, hits the East River crossing, tags Enzo in the ring, and they hit their version of the rocket launcher, which is basically just, instead of just the old Midnight Express style of picking your partner up and tossing him onto the guy, he actually carried Enzo down, kind of like an assisted gorilla press. Enzo on top, and they get the 3 count, and we have the new #1 contenders to the NXT Tag Team Championship being Big Cass and Enzo Amore. I like this. I think this is something that needed to happen for a long time. And it's interesting because Full Sail is very split on the Lucha Dragons. The match that they had with the Vaudevillains, the match was split. I know, I was there. I can vouch for it 100%. This match, same way. Even though, that's something in my throat, I apologize. The Lucha Dragons obviously have the Lucha, Lucha, and that allows fans to chant Lucha, Lucha. They don't always do that. They're chanting Certified G, Bonafide Stud, Certified G, Bonafide Stud. You will not tell us who to cheer for, WWE. You don't run this place. NXT does. I understand how stupid that statement is, but still, this isn't WWE. NXT fans cheer for who they want to cheer for. And sometimes they change their affiliation, whether they're good or bad, based upon that. Sometimes not, but we'll see where that goes from there. So we got our next match. It is going to be Carmella in ring against the returning Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss was injured, and now she has set herself on a path against the current NXT Women's Champion, Sasha Banks. And Alexa Bliss is no stranger, obviously. She had a nice debut. She got hurt. She's back with a vengeance, and now she's going straight after the championship, and that's a smart move to do. So this match picks up midway through. Carmella with a one-footed drop kick gets a 2 count off of that. Makes a cover, gets a 2 count off of that. And then she makes a deeper cover, and she almost no way for her escape, but she still kicks out at 2. Body scissors to Alexa, and she bridges back, and she gets a 2 count off of that. Front face lock, knee strikes, and she gets a 2 count off of that. So Carmella clubs her in the back, gets a 2 off of that, backs her in the corner, and 2 shoulder blocks, and a kick to the ribs. The kick is caught, and 2 big forearms from Alexa Bliss. And Carmella forearm is ducked, and Alexa Bliss with a Perry Saturn-esque leg sweep. Isn't they? So she hits the Glitz Flip, which is a standing moonsault, gets a 2 off of that, heads up top for basically a round-off splash off the top, and it is now called the Sparkle Splash, and gets the 3 off of that. Big win for Alexa Bliss, and I've been saying for a long time, Alexa Bliss is the X Factor in the women's division of NXT. This is the competitor that I think could be a lot more than people give her credit for. And it's interesting I talk about that because the next segment we roll into in a minute, I do think that we're going to have some really good match between Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks. And it's interesting because during the show, they talk about next week's NXT. The NXT that I'm going to be talking about next Tuesday, because we're going to go back to normalcy on Tuesday, provided everything works out. And when we go back to normalcy, they're going to be showing matches that were taped when they were in Columbus, Ohio for the Arnold Sports Festival. And those matches were basically hinged on this show. One being Alexa Bliss. She's a native Ohio native, and she is facing off against Sasha Banks. And the other match was set up on this show, but they still aired previous footage of the end of the match that is the match later on in the show with Alex Riley and CJ Parker, where Kevin Owens basically said he's going to end his career, his in-ring career, like he basically ended his commentary career. This was shown to promote the fact that that match would be next week. Even though last week William Regal said that he's not getting Owens until he is deemed worthy, and this actually was horrible time placement when it played, because this vignette was played to promote next week's show before the match with CJ Parker even happened. So yeah, sometimes even WWE television gods can make mistakes. So don't shoot everything on TNA. WWE makes mistakes too. We get a really, really impassionate speech from Alex Riley in the back. He says, "What if you were locked in a cage for 2 years, starving, watching every single person around you eat? Locked in the cage, just watching. Being told there was no room for Alex Riley. But you're dedicated, just want one chance." I don't know what it's like to want one chance. "Kevin Owens gave me a reason." He talks about his family, and his family being the reason why he does what he does. Well, I have no family. Basically, he says the fans are his family. He says his family is out there. It's time he's going to fight for his life. It's time to rage. I like this. Really good promo from Alex Riley. I miss Alex Riley in the ring. I hope this actually is something that lasts for a bit. Give him an NXT run. I have no problems with that. I like the stuff he did with The Miz in WWE, so I think they could really do something with him in NXT. Prove why. Just like with a lot of superstars, WWE has dropped the ball on them, and now they have a second life in NXT, so it makes perfect sense there. Tyler Breeze basically is talking about the main event for the night. It is Tyler Breeze and Hideo Itami, and he says, "The King of Cuteville is going to prove tonight he's not just another pretty face." Yeah, once again, I think Tyler Breeze is the diamond in the rough of NXT, honestly, I really do. Somebody that they really don't take enough as a serious threat to the championship, even though he had a nice run for fighting for the championship when Adrian Neville was champion. But now he's kind of relegated to maybe the mid-card, but now it looks like they're starting to listen to me, and they are propelling him upwards, whether they're watching these videos or they're just doing it on their own accord. It's nice to see that someone sees the greatness in Tyler Breeze, and they're actually starting to utilize him in the main event picture, and that's where he belongs. So we get our next match. CJ Parker comes out, and another person that's criminally underutilized. I think CJ Parker's great. He comes out with his Lodi sign, this time saying CJ Parker is taking over the takeovers with his Franz Ferdinand ripoff version of Hazy Shade of Winter. So he comes out, he goes to cut a promo on Alex Riley, and of course, I'm guessing he's probably going to complain about Solomon Crow a little bit more, because Solomon Crow beat him like a... Well, I'll just say it like it say it. He beat him like a dirty hippie during last week's show. So, obviously, he's a little butthurt about that. So, before he's allowed to say anything else, Alex Riley comes out, and we've got this match. So, we pick it up off the midway point. It goes back and forth for a bit. But eventually, CJP goes off the ropes. He gets caught with a really high elevation back body drop. Kind of funny because Alex Riley went on record recently saying that back body drop is his least favorite wrestling move to take. That's interesting. So CJP goes for a charge. Clothesline is ducked by A-Rai. He goes for the rebound lariat. It does connect. Clothesline, charging clothesline in the corner. A boot in and a standing front flip neck breaker. Basically a standing flying guillotine. I like that. He kind of like did the cross the arm, across the throat, like a cutthroat front flip neck breaker. Thought that looked awesome. And then he headed up top. He hit the blockbuster, and he got the 3 off of that. The match is over. Kevin Owens himself comes out, and in the footage that we've already seen because of a commercial that aired at the wrong time, he says, "You're the dumbest man in NXT. I'm going to end your in-ring career, and then I'll put an end to the rise of Finn Balor. Trust me." Yeah, I don't want to screw with Kevin Owens, not at all. Not one bit at this point. Alex Riley is fighting into some dangerous waters, and we'll see what happens next week when they battle it out, and when they battled it out in Columbus. I'm curious to see how that match goes. So, obviously, no Finn Balor this week because we're still building, and I'm sure Balor will be on the show. Not next week, because next week is the Columbus show. They only aired a little bit of it. I don't know exactly what's all going to be shown. I don't know if it's going to be just like clip shows, kind of like when WWE is doing the WrestleMania shows, like the SmackDowns when there's no matches. It's just basically putting over the event. I think it's going to be something like that, and then you're going to have the 2 matches that we already talked about. So, then we get our main event. What a main event it was, as it always is. Tyler Breeze taking on Hideo Itami. We pick it up off the commercial break, and Tyler puts Itami up on the buckle. He climbs up. He gets stopped by 3 big right hands and leaping clothesline off the top by Itami. When Tyler gets up to his feet, he gets ran over with a clothesline and another clothesline. Tyler goes for the boot, gets caught, and leg sweep by Itami. Tyler gets knocked through the middle ropes and to the ring apron. So he goes for a shoulder, he gets stopped, and he gets stopped by a front kick. The kick is ducked. Tyler hits the neck snap, and he comes off the ropes, goes for a forearm, he gets swatted off, and Itami with a vicious discus lariat gets a 2 count on the King of Cuteville. So a whip is blocked by Tyler, knee cut off, whip in, Tyler puts on the brakes, and Itami charges in. Tyler gets the boot up, kicks him right in the face, ducks the clothesline, waistlock by Itami, standing switch reversal, going for the O'Connor roll, and Itami, of course, holds onto the ropes. Itami boot in, staggers Tyler Breeze, and he catches him with a supermodel kick. 1, 2, and no. Once again, Itami is not able to be put away. So Breeze sets up for the ring post figure 4, but obviously Itami's seen this before, and he lifts his legs up, and that propels Breeze nose first into the ring post, and that stops it right there. Itami tosses Tyler into the ring, hangs him out to dry, and he hits the Kawada kick. He heads up top for a knee drop to the back of the head. 1, 2, and Tyler Breeze kicks out. So he nails the Kenta Rush, the whip kicks, the spinning back kick, and he sets up for the hesitation drop kick in the corner. Tyler Breeze out of the way, and when Itami reaches his feet groggily, he eats the beauty shot and cleans the sheet. Tyler Breeze wins your main event on NXT this week. I really like this match. Really great back and forth match right here between these two. Like I said before, there's a lot of people that are saying that these are the two that are going to kind of left behind by the Kevin Owenses and the Finn Balors of the new NXT that we have now. But no, this match, if anything, proves that these two definitely belong in the upper echelon of NXT talent and also to be feuding for the NXT Championship somewhere down the line, especially Tyler Breeze. I do think there is going to come a time that Tyler Breeze will hold that NXT Championship, unless they go with the idea that I've had almost 2 years now. If you're watching these videos, pay attention. When it comes down to it, they need a secondary championship in NXT. Something other people can feud for and feud over. And I think that's a good title to put on Tyler Breeze right now. It really is. It'd be fun to have him as a champion. I think he would be a really great champion. And he didn't really work heel in this match. Not really. I mean, we've seen a lot from Breeze. He can go either way. He can go face or heel depending on the crowd he's with. His gimmick fits more like an arrogant tool, but I get that. That makes perfect sense. You could babyface that if you really want to, and if you went by the Full Sail crowd, I know a lot of them would like to see Tyler Breeze go face somewhere down the line, and I think someday it does happen. But for the time being, I like this match. I like the finish of this match. I think it came really well after the Kenta Rush, and he hit the spinning back kick. He went for the hesitation drop kick, and all Breeze did was just roll out of the way, and then he hit him with the beauty shot. No tights hooked, no feet on the ropes, nothing. Clean as a sheet. 1, 2, 3. I really like this match. Show was done really well. I like Enzo and Cass being the number 1 contenders to the Tag Team Championships. Their match against Blake and Murphy probably going to be coming at TakeOver, if I had to guess. Alexa Bliss is gunning for Sasha Banks. They're going to do their first match. They already did it in Columbus. It's going to be shown on NXT this week. And I like the fire from Alex Riddle. You can definitely tell that he really wants to compete, doesn't necessarily want to be a commentator. So his match against CJ Parker, pretty decent for what it was. I like the cutthroat front flip neck breaker. I thought that looked awesome. And using the blockbuster for the finish, I don't know. I mean, maybe it could work, I guess you could say, if you build it up as a finisher for him and give it a name for him. I'll come up with something. I always do. And the main event, phenomenal. So yeah, check out NXT if you haven't this week, and trust me, it'll be worth your while. So, let's talk about Impact, shall we? This show felt very much like a free pay-per-view. It wasn't named anything special. It was held in London, and it was held at Wembley Arena. There's no I in arena. Wembley Arena, not Wembley Stadium, unfortunately, but Wembley Arena, and it focused majorly on 3 feuds seemingly coming to an end. Technically, probably not, but still, 3 major feuds coming to an end. They focused on the feud between Showtime Eric Young and the It Factor Bobby Roode. They focused on the new brewing feud between Bram and Magnus, and they focused mainly on the hair versus hair last man. I can't call it last man standing match because last man standing is Roode and Young, but yeah, there has to be a winner. One man will get scalped in the match between Rockstar Spud and Ethan Carter III. So, how do we start off the show? No 20-minute promo. No promo anyway. Go right to the action. First match, right off the top, last man standing, Eric Young, Bobby Roode. I picked this up midway through the match, and a chop. Whip in, ducks the clothesline, EY with a leaping reverse neck breaker. He drops a standing Bret Hart elbow, which if you're knowing, Bret Hart does the middle rope elbow. He did it from a standing position, so that's why I called it a standing Bret Hart elbow. Sends him face first to the top turnbuckle. He steps on the throat of Bobby Roode. Double axe handle to Roode as he's draped over the ring apron, basically half in the ring, half out. And he nails a reverse neck breaker on the floor. So, last man standing rules apply. Bobby Roode's up at 8, so the match continues. So, Eric Young goes for a running clothesline. It is ducked. 3 big right hands from Bobby Roode. Boot in, whip in, reverse, and Roode hit the ring steps hard. EY picks up Roode at 6, sends him face first to the ring steps, climbs up, going for the pile driver on top of the ring steps, and of course, he gets back body dropped out of it, and EY hits the ground hard. Bobby Roode's up at 9. EY grabs a chair from under the ring. Roode already has a chair, so they do dueling chairs momentarily, and double clothesline, both men are down. They both get up at 9. They both roll back into the ring. They trade punches in the center of the ring. Bobby Roode gets the upper hand. 3 big right hands whip in. Bobby Roode ducks the shot, going for the pile driver out of nowhere on EY, and Bobby Roode barely gets up at 10. Eric Young mows him over with a back elbow, grabs the chair outside the ring, and he swats at a fan first. I know how that works because I've done it before. And sometimes you get too close to the action, guys, and you just pay for it. Chair shot to the ribs, then one to the lower back. EY stops the count, and he gets caught, and going for the pile driver. Boot in by Bobby Roode. He pile drives Eric Young on the steel chair. And if this would have been WCW in 1991, and this would have been for the World Heavyweight Championship inside a steel cage between Lex Luger and Barry Windham, this match would have been over. But no. Eric Young somehow, someway gets up at 9. So he picks him up for the Roode bomb. EY breaks it with an eye rake. He goes down the shoulder. Suplex to the floor. But no, he lands Bobby Roode on the ring apron. EY with a boot, going for the pile driver, because a table was set up in midway through the match before I even started calling this. And he cuts the throat, he sets up for the pile driver, going to try to put Bobby Roode through the table with the pile driver off the ring apron. This is not to be. Bobby Roode picks him up and hits the Roode bomb off the apron through the table, and EY cannot answer the 10 count. Roode up at 8, and the count is 9 and 10, and Bobby Roode defeats Eric Young to win the first match on TNA Impact. I like this match. I like the ferocity in this match. I think it works really well. It was a good grudge match, good fight between these two. I like the counters back and forth, knowing each other's maneuvers so well because they've been tag team partners before. They obviously know each other so well that they can do something like that. I thought it worked really well, and I thought it was a great utilization of this feud. Now, excuse me, will we see another match between these two? Somewhere down the line, yes, but I think by and large the feud is over. Excuse me. Should have got something to drink before I started this. We see Jeremy Borash in the back. He's talking to Rockstar Spud. And he says, you know what, Spud, you don't have to do this. And Spud's like, yeah, I got to do it. I got to do it for everyone. Not just myself, but every single person, basically every single person that's been bullied by someone like Ethan Carter III. He says, in order for this to end, he has to stand up to EC3. He doesn't care if he wins or loses. He just needs to stand up to him. That's going to be enough. So Drew Galloway comes out. And he says, first and foremost, he's a fan. So he heads to the crowd to be with his people. And he says, wrestling used to matter, but now the fans, they're forced to watch something that they don't want to. Yep, it's the reason I'm not going to be recapping Monday and Thursday nights anymore. But I digress. MVP thinks he can manipulate the system. He can shove the Beatdown Clan down our throats. So MVP comes out with Samoa Joe, low-key, still looking pissed as ever from last week, and Kenny King. He says, one time Drew McIntyre... Oh, whoops. I almost called him Drew McIntyre. One time Drew Galloway was the chosen one. Why was he chosen? Because he had the look. He had the skill. But he definitely didn't have the brains. Tonight, the Beatdown Clan chooses him to receive that beatdown. And MVP basically says, you know what, I'll even give you one. I'll do it alone. So he sends the rest of the Beatdown Clan to the back, and he goes at it alone. So that's our next match of the night. It is MVP against Drew Galloway. This match was short. Let's talk about what we've got from the midpoint. MVP with a whip in, charging in with the running boot in the corner. He misses. He gets caught up on the top rope. 2 big right hands, a chop, another right hand by Drew, and he unzips the bodysuit of MVP, of course. I'm sure the crowd loved the fact because he was wearing a Man United bodysuit at this point. So 2 knife edge chops and a vicious boot to the head while he was down on all fours. Whips him in, MVP puts on the brakes, and he charges in, ducks the clothesline, sick kick from Drew, and he kips up. Thumbs down Batista style, heads up for the Future Shock DDT, and Low Ki and Kenny King hit the ring for the disqualification. Drew wins by DQ officially. MVP and Kenny King, excuse me, MVP and Low Ki are holding Drew McIntyre. Wow, God, it's been a long day. Drew Galloway in the corner, and Kenny King with a really nice maneuver, a sideways shotgun knees, something I've not seen before. It looked nice. Drive-by kick by MVP, and Key heads up top for the Warriors Way, and no, MVP stops him. He's like, we're going to do something else. Kenny King crosses Drew to the floor. They set up Drew against the post. It looks like Low Ki is going to set up for the title crush against the ring post, which would completely take him out, like legitimately. Joe stops Low Ki and says, no, we're not going to do it that way. And he hands him the lead pipe, of course. And he's like, okay, I get this. Turnabout is fair play. So Joe gives Low Ki the pipe. And he swings it, and it misses by a mile. But kudos to the commentators for selling it. He popped him in the head, and Drew goes down. And when he comes back up, he's done a little bleeding, and he's busted wide open. They hold his face in front of the camera so they can mock him. Low Ki saying over and over again, I told you, I told you, I told you. And Low Ki going all ghetto on this show. Like, I've never heard Low Ki like so hood in my life. I didn't know anything about like the strong style thugs or anything like that. But I mean, Low Ki is like hood, like shoot hood here. It was crazy. It was like, yeah, man, yes, son, stuff like that. I mean, really stuff that a lot of people would say was stereotypical in movies, obviously. But yeah, it was like really vicious beating they had on Drew. He says, welcome to TNA. The blood has just begun. And this is the end of that. So I like the way they're setting this up, that Drew Galloway has to fight off the Beatdown Clan one by one. This is the first match. It's MVP. I'm sure that he's going to have to take out every single member of the Beatdown Clan before he gets to MVP. And I'm sure he probably has to take out Samoa Joe soon because Joe doesn't have much footage left. I actually think next week, I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive on this, I think next week is the last time you will see Samoa Joe on Impact Wrestling. And I hope that they did something to allow for that. Because I know for a fact there's a new member of the Beatdown Clan that I've been talking about since day one needed to be there. Well, it took Samoa Joe leaving the company for this guy to come into the Beatdown Clan. And let me just say, all bets are off now. I think this is going to be a really interesting angle considering who is now brought into the company. We'll talk about that later because obviously I don't spoil things because they haven't happened yet. I'll hint about things, but I won't spoil things. We get Mickie James in the back talking to Magnus, and she says she's concerned at Magnus taking this match tonight with Bram because of his problems with his head and his neck. And Magnus says, you know what? I have to do this tonight. No more waiting. It's going to happen tonight. Mickie says, you know what? If that's going to happen, I don't want it to happen, but you're going to have me at ringside. And Magnus basically says, you know what? For your own safety, you might want to stay in the back. So we catch up with Ethan Carter III. And he's waxing poetic about the fact he's been undefeated for 16 months. He beat Sting, Bully Ray, and Kurt Angle. He says Rockstar Spud is a failure. He's a loser. See, tonight he'll get what he asked for right here in his home. When he's bald and lying in his own blood, he has to remember that he's the one who wanted this. I like this. I love the build-up between Spud and EC3. I think this actually works really well, and I love how they blew it off, and we'll talk about that as we get to our main event. So, speaking of our next feud, we're talking about first matchup between Magnus and Bram. They look like they want to push Bram to the stars here. They're doing a lot with him, so I think I know where this is headed, and we'll see if I'm right down the line. So, midway through this match, before I even started commentary, Mickie James runs to ringside. This is when both men are down. So when they get back up, they trade punches, a clothesline, a chop, a whip by Magnus, nice leapfrog, hits the rebound lariat, but a leaping version of it this time. Heads up top for the flying elbow, and he sets up for the spine shaker, but Bram Back kick straight to the groin. Referee sees it, calls for disqualification. So Bram grabs a chair. He nails him in the ribs, and then he hits him in the back, and he jabs it into the spine. Bram gets the cue ball from under the ring, and it looked like, I didn't know what it was at the time, but it ends up being a zip tie. 3 big right hands, zip ties Magnus to the rope so he can't go anywhere. He grabs the cue ball to swing it at, and of course, Mickie James runs out, jumps on Magnus, and stops any more beatings from happening. But Bram likes this, obviously, so he grabs Mickie James, and Magnus says, "I'll effing kill you." And yeah, it is said, legitimately, not on the mic, but it's said. And Mickie slaps Bram. Bram likes this and grabs Mickie and says, "Look who I've got now. I used to look up to you, and now you look up to me," which is great because obviously he is tied up, can't go anywhere, and he's looking up at Bram, who now has Mickie James in his grasp, could snap her like a twig at any moment. And Magnus realizes this, so obviously he's panicking at this point. He says, "I will take away everything you love. I'll let go of her right now if you do one thing. You kiss my boot." I don't know why it was kiss my boot, but Magnus ends up sucking up his pride and kissing the boot of Bram. And Bram says, "How pathetic," and leaves them both laying. Not beating them up, he just bombs out. I like this. I like this feud a lot. I like the fact Mickie James is being thrust into this. I don't know if they're going to be bringing a knockout with Bram so Mickie can work with them. But I do know there's something that's going to be happening with Mickie James in the future, in the next month or so, that could be rather interesting. So we'll get to that when we get there. MVP is in the back, and he says the blood has just started to flow. Low-key shows the stitches in the back of his ear where he got busted open hard way by the lead pipe shot from Galloway. He says he promised to get revenge, and then he goes all hood and basically says, "It's on, son." And he says it over and over again, like he's legitimately mad. And with Loki, you never can tell. The guy did KO someone in a match before. Something I apologize. Joe says, "We warned you. We will eliminate and emasculate anyone by any means available." I like that. That actually works really well. Galloway, "We're sorry things got rough." And once again, he welcomes the Chosen One to TNA. So, I got some in my eye here. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get rid of it on camera. It's interesting, isn't it? Our next match, intergender action. Robbie E taking on his former girlfriend, Brooke. They play this match off like a boxing match, even though there's no boxing gloves. DJZ does boxing-style ring introductions, and he does the Michael Buffer, "Let's get ready to Robbie." Because if he said the other word, then he'd have to pay a lot of money. So, Robbie E comes out, of course, with Jesse Goddard and Angelina Love in his corner. He's wearing a hoodie. He looks like he's ready for a boxing match. It's like we're going to Johnny B. Bad versus Scotty Flamingo from the Clash of Champions. But, yeah, it's interesting that they do that version of the match here. So we pick it up midway through, and this is after all the controversy, even though this was taped before, the controversy of the match that we've had lately between Chris Dickinson and Kimberly that, completely pissed off the entire internet. And, it's a work, folks. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. It's a work. So, yeah, it's called heel heat. Sometimes it's not right and it's not fair, but that's how it works. I didn't say I agree with it. I said that it works. I mean, as a manager before, I said I cut Dale Earnhardt's break lines. I mean, you say what you got to do to get heat sometimes. You swing chairs at children. I mean, you do what you got to do to get heat sometimes. Any manager on the independents would tell you the same exact thing I just did. So we pick it up off the actual match, and Robbie E with a vertical suplex on Brooke. He goes to the middle rope fist drop. He misses, and Brooke's off the ropes. Angelina goes to trip her up, and Brooke stomps her hand. So, hits Angelina with a pescado. Brooke heads up top, flying body press. Robbie E catches her. Puts her on the shoulder, and of course, she slides down the back. A waist lock. DJZ on the ring apron for the referee distraction. E with a standing switch, locks her in her front. A full Nelson. Jesse gets in the ring, going for a standing drop kick on Brooke, which would have looked vicious if it actually hit, and of course it wasn't going to. This allows Brooke to duck out of the way. The bromans legitimately collide with each other, and at this point, Jesse gets kind of bull rushed to the floor by Brooke, and then Brooke ends up hitting the jackknife cover and gets the 3 count on Robbie E. I like this match. I thought it worked really well. Good storyline match. It wasn't like, as obviously it's not as hard hitting as Dickinson and Kimberly was, without a doubt. It was a good back and forth wrestling match by 2 wrestlers. Doesn't matter if one was male, one was female. It was just 2 wrestlers wrestling, and it actually worked really well for me. I thought it was a very great way to work that storyline, and I think that's probably the end. Unless Brooke ends up working with another superstar and another tag team to maybe get one over on the Bromans. I actually think that's a good idea at some point, too. Maybe if they want to go in that direction. Brooke teams up with someone else to go after the Bromans. I think that would be a good idea. But I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? Main event time. My God. Rockstar Spud, Ethan Carter III, hair versus hair. Spud comes out, huge pop from the crowd, singing God Save the Queen with everyone joining him. And right after the commercial break hits, we get the graphic we heard about on Facebook and Twitter concerning the graphic content. Viewer discretion is advised. So we didn't know what that was going to be. Well, I did, but I really didn't because I wasn't completely trying to pay attention to spoilers here. So after the commercial break, he's choking Spud on the ropes. He goes for the dive bomb. Spud out of the way. He gets crotched on the middle ropes. Spud slightly drop kicks EC3 to the outside. Heads up top. Somersault senton onto EC3, tosses him into the ring. EC3 distracts the referee. Here comes Tyrus. He pulls Spud out of the ring under the bottom rope and power bombs him on the floor. If this would have been center stage theater in WCW in the early 90s, this match would have been over. But no, when Carter covers, 1, 2, Spud kicks out with authority. So EC3 goes for his modified camel clutch, and he's fish hooking Spud. And Tyrus goes to get in the ring to finish off Spud once and for all. And here comes Mr. Anderson, of course, returning the favor from Rockstar Spud helping him out before. And he ends up fighting with Tyrus, and he nails him with a mic check on the floor. The big man is down and out. So obviously he wants to even the score, so it's a one-on-one match, and there's no chicanery and craziness going on in this match. So Anderson disappears after this, of course, because he gets decked in the back of the head by the Lex Luger-style loaded arm brace from EC3. EC3 decks Spud right between the eyes. Spud goes down. Shoop! And when he comes back up, he's busted open. Obviously, blade job on the floor makes perfect sense to me, because they use the exposed buckles of the colossally cartoony arm brace, and it busted Spud open. So Spud is now bleeding. Which at this point, when we see close-ups of Rockstar Spud's face, I'm we're talking Muta level face at this point. In IWC term, I love that. I have not used it on commentary before, so there you go. And at this point, all sorts of craziness is going on. And we're going in to fade in the color, and then when we get a close-up on Spud's face, it's black and white, because obviously they're trying to tone down the violent content, because Spud is bleeding pools at this point. So let's pick this up from that. So he tosses him in, face first to the top turnbuckle. He runs him the other side of the corner, and the blood of Rockstar Spud is literally covering the turnbuckle at this point. So, of course, it continues. EC3 starts pounding away at the open wound. He knocks Spud to the canvas. He mocks Sting, and he hits the Stinger Splash. Spud's blood is now, dripping down EC3's chest, because he basically tries to crawl up to get there, and he slumps down, and you have this, this line, this huge, crimson line that is now embedded in Ethan Carter III's chest right now of Rockstar Spud's blood. So yeah, I'm sure he probably had to get stitched up right quick after this match was over. So he tosses him to the floor right at Jeremy Borash's feet, and he starts pounding him right in front of JB. And JB is talking to him, and EC3 gets back in the ring. JB finally gets in the ring. He low blows him, and Rockstar Spud hits a stunner, and it's the only thing you can call it. It's what it was. And 1, 2... Carter kicks out at 2 3/4. We get a black and white yet again. So EC3 nails the original TKO, which is the fireman's carry into the Ace Crusher, and sends him face first into the canvas over and over and over and over again, and every single time more blood stains the ring apron, stains the ring canvas. But Rockstar Spud does not want to quit. EC3 starts pounding away. No effect. No effect. Spud takes off the bow tie, points EC3, and you! Right hand, right hand, right hand, and then obviously big boot leg drop, but no. 3 right hands, and he hits 3 more right hands. He nails 3 forearms, but EC3's on his knee. He hits the Shining Black, which is basically a Shining Wizard with an Enziguri kick instead of a knee strike. Gregory Shane Helms uses it all the time. So yeah. Hits the snap jabs, wind up, goes for the groin claw. So he ducks EC3's shot, and Pele kick from Rockstar Spud. So Spud has now used the Stone Cold Stunner, and he's used Shane Helms' Shining Black. He's used Luna Vachon's Groin Claw, and then he hit AJ Styles' Pele kick. And kudos to Taz for saying that he's utilizing the maneuvers of past superstars in order to put EC3 down once and for all. He goes for the underdog. He floats over, lands on his feet. And EC3 steps him. Stops him with a brace shot. 1, 2. Spud still kicks out. Spud's crawling, literally using his fingernails, clawing at EC3, trying to reach his feet. And Carter looks remorseful as he locks in the headlock, hits the 1%er, pins Spud to the canvas, and ends the match. Thus meaning we're going to get a haircut from Rockstar Spud tonight. But Carter doesn't look very happy about what he had to do. He grabs the mic. He says, "Spud, you have the most heart and determination I've ever seen in a professional wrestler. Look, I've done some heinous things to you. I've hurt your friends. It was misguided. It was just simply trying to make a statement. But there was a point, there was a time that we were best friends, and I was the one that ruined that. I ruined that. See, in front here of you and your home people, your mom, your dad, you proved why you belong in Impact Wrestling. You proved that despite your size, that you could one day possibly be a World Heavyweight Champion. You've got it, man. I'm not going to shave your head tonight." Some of the fans start to boo, because why not? And EC3 answers them, like, "No what? He doesn't deserve it. He proved tonight he was a fighter, a lion, a tiger, a gazelle, and damn it, he proved tonight that he was a man." Great reaction there for that line. He offers his hand, and of course you don't shake a heel's hand, because that never ends well. And Spud obviously has not watched any wrestling throughout his life, because he wouldn't realize that. And I want to end this on good terms. So they handshake, he raises his arm in the air, he holds the ropes open for Spud to get out of the ring. He goes halfway out of the ring, and he's about ready to kick his foot over and land on the apron and go to the floor when EC3 grabs him by the hair and says, in Wayne's World fashion, "Not Spud, time to pay." So he picks him up in a backdrop suplex and ties him up to the Tree of Woe. He grabs the hair clippers, and while Spud's blood is literally dripping, since he's upside down at this point, blood is literally dripping over his own face at this point. It was like congealed, and now it's starting to drip again. And it's dripping, and he is basically scalping Rockstar Spud on national television. He grabs the mic, he says, "Take notice. This company, this ring, this industry, and this world is mine now." EC3 leaves with wide eyes, and the fans look on in disbelief as we end the show. This was built really well. This storyline was built very well, and it very much utilized the fact they were on the United Kingdom tour when they were actually doing this. A place that Rockstar Spud was going to be over like he's Hulk Hogan. And TNA, to their credit, has utilized the fact that Rockstar Spud isn't just a comedy act. Rockstar Spud was legitimately built to be a somebody this time around. Somebody that could actually not only compete with the big boys, but could win the big one in the end. But it didn't happen this time. EC3 has still not been pinned to the canvas in 16 months. The question is, who pins EC3 shoulders to the mat? Is it Ken Anderson? Is that going to be how they go with it? I doubt it. I thought that this would be the year that Ethan Carter III, who is easily the biggest mistake WWE ever made, letting him go. It's a big mistake for them. It's a great thing for EC3 because TNA has let him be somebody that WWE just wouldn't let him be. And he's proven that he is a superstar to be reckoned with. He's got the mic skills, he's got the talent, he's got the wrestling ability, and he knows how to elicit a reaction. And I truly believe he will be World Heavyweight Champion. And they're doing Bobby Lashley and Kurt Angle next week. Now, barring anything that does happen, we do remember that Angle and EC3 didn't really end. So if Kurt Angle was able to wrest the TNA World Heavyweight Championship from Lashley next week, maybe we finally see this feud resolve itself. And EC3 rightfully becoming the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Where's Rockstar Spud go from here? I'm thinking another feud somewhere down the line. Spud's obviously going to have vengeance on his mind when he faces off against EC3 one more time. I don't think this is over. Or it could be. But I doubt it because Rockstar Spud proved why he is, in the future, a force to be reckoned with in TNA. So, as we talk right now, legitimately, the TNA Impact tapings at Soundstage 20 at Universal Orlando have now ended. They've ended for about an hour now. And when I film this, they've ended for about an hour now. So, I wish I could have been there. But I wasn't. Hopefully, if TNA returns to Universal in September, October, or December, I will be able to be there for that. And hopefully, if NXT returns to Full Sail in one of those time frames, I'll be there for that. So that's what I'm hoping for at this point. So yeah, TNA knocked it out of the park this week. I really like what they're doing. They're really pushing feuds. I like what they're doing with Bram and Magnus. I love what they've done with Rockstar Spud and EC3. I like the fact that they're feuding with the Revolution and the Hardys, which they really didn't do anything with this week. But next week, we're going to no disqualification match between James Storm and Matt Hardy. That's going to be fun. I like them blowing off Robbie E. and Brooke. I thought that worked really well. I love the main event. Bobby Roode and Eric Young was really good. I think they'll have more matches against each other down the line, but I think they're going to stay apart from each other for a bit. I think that's probably the right direction to go. But yeah. Great show, TNA. So if you're not watching Impact, try it out sometime. It's really, like I said, NXT and Impact, they're the alternative. I haven't tuned on WWE since December, and I'll watch WrestleMania, but that's it. I mean, I may go back after WrestleMania, just depends on what happens. We'll see. But yeah, that is your NXT and Impact review for Monday. So, and I apologize if it goes up a little bit later than midnight. I'm trying my best to get it done, but it's obviously going to be a problem here. If I had to guess right now, that's what I'm looking at, trying to get it worked out. There we go. So, that being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Like these videos. Tell me you like these videos by liking our Facebook fan page at Sir Owen Disney Pop. Follow me on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney. Friend request me via Facebook at Owen Disney. If you have email me ideas of Vlog of Randomness, Sip and Snacker versus our regular segments here on Pop. Want to talk wrestling with me, Universal, Disney, Halloween Horror Nights in general. Ask me questions. Want to become a Popcaster yourself? Send your contributions and your questions. Send all of this to SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. Tomorrow, you can join Ashley for Gaming with Ash. And Wednesday, the Vlog of Randomness covers Florida roller coasters. Brand new Sip and Snack coming up on Thursday. Friday, AJ's movie reviews will be coming. So, stay tuned for that, and Ashley returns on Saturday. Brand new Versus on Sunday. That's how we do here on Pop. So that being said, thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.